Alright, same sure, this is the second video on the same topic of my thoughts on Tesla, why I still own shares in Tesla. Now this is the second part and probably the final part of this series. The first part I was talking about or explaining my thoughts or my perspective on investing, what investing entails for me, maybe not for you, but for me, so that you would have a better understanding of my perspective on Tesla and put it into context. So if you have not watched that and you would like this video to be in context, feel free to jump. I will put the link so that you can jump into that video first before coming back to this video. If not, it's your choice, same as smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's all your choice. Whether you want to smash or don't want to smash, it's alright, because we're cool, bro. So now in this video, just my personal opinion or thoughts on why I invested in Tesla. Hello, Calebby here. As shared in the introduction, this is the second part of the video, so feel free to check out the earlier part. If not, we'll carry on with Tesla without further ado. Tesla as in the Tesla company, Tesla Inc., not Nikola Tesla, the historical figure, the nemesis of Edison. Have you not heard? Now, of course, we all know Edison, or Edison is more well known, but both of them are like smart minds of their time, competing with each other, rivals like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Anyway, Tesla. Now, my take on Tesla. Currently, Tesla generates most of its revenue from car sales, vehicle sales, or EV sales, electric vehicle sales, whatever you might want to call it. So many people, including analysts, would like to compare them with motor companies like Ford, GM, Toyota, Hyundai, Volkswagen, the list goes on and on. A lot of car companies, why would they succeed? What's the difference between them? And maybe their main rival would be Rivian. What's the main difference between them and Rivian? So because of this comparison, of comparing them to a car company, there's always this disconnect or this argument, this debate going on between those who are bull Tesla and those who are bear Tesla, those who believe in Tesla's success in the future and those who believe in Tesla's failure in the future to go into bankruptcy. The short sellers, they would like that. Now, for those who are saying that Tesla will go bankrupt, would bring to us the fact that in their annual reports for the past years that they have been around, their entire history, they have not generated substantial enough profit. So the short sellers agree that Tesla had increased its revenue many folds, but to them, Tesla has not shown profit, and what this means for them is burning cash, which is pretty alarming, because if you are comparing this to the dot-com bubble, there are many dot-com companies which are burning cash, and companies' valuation then are based on how much cash they can burn, not how much cash they can generate. And now for Tesla bull, so I would consider myself like a Tesla bull, because I would agree with most Tesla bull that the reason Tesla had not generated profit or substantial profit was because they have been throwing their revenue back into production to grow and ramp up the production so that they can produce more and more cars, and they can even build factories super fast, like in the Shanghai Gigafactory. So yes, that's of course also because China is very good at building buildings, as we all know. But the amazing fact is Tesla was able to copy and paste their model of the Gigafactory over to Shanghai so that it can start producing vehicles within a very short span of time. Currently, they are producing 3,000 vehicles every week, and they have not even opened fully. Once they open fully, it'll be crazy. So what I'm trying to say is there's a difference between Tesla burning money right now and other companies who could be burning money in the wrong way, of course, because what Tesla is doing is pretty similar to what Apple, Amazon, Facebook had been doing previously when they are growing, when they pump in huge cash flow to improve their product efficiency. Like for Amazon's example, to increase their efficiency, the rate at which they can put products into their customers' hand once they place the order. Now for Amazon, they know that they cannot be the cheapest, because the cheapest will be Taobao, Alibaba, of course, but they can be the most efficient to get the products or goods quickest to the customer's hands, which is why they are so successful and still growing. And because they are still growing, Amazon too has yet to show a profit, because they have been throwing back all their revenues back to grow the business. That's not even talking about their web servers. So when you begin to compare Tesla as a tech company, because since it's situated or headquartered in the Silicon Valley area, then you would see the financials a little differently. Not that they can burn money, but they can throw money into production to increase their production, to do R&D, to increase how good the product is compared to all its competitors. Now, in any point in time, Tesla, Amazon, Uber, Facebook, before their growth stopped, they could have pulled the plug and stopped growing and just taking profits, but that would slow down their growth significantly because they would not have all the resources at their back to expand their sales. But because this type of tech companies, they have delayed gratification, they are able to pull off crazy stunts like these to keep rolling the profit generating machine into the far future, so that in the future, once they can't grow too much anymore, like maybe Coca-Cola, they can start to take out all the profits from their different revenue streams one shot, which would be amazing. Like many of you would have already known that earlier this year, Tesla or Elon Musk would have already said or mentioned before that they do not need to raise money anymore. But I think 1 week down the line, of course, they begin to raise capital. So that capital is not for their operating costs. So they in fact really do not need to raise any more capital. But I feel that it was a good move, because who would have predicted this situation where many companies will be in financial distress? So now Tesla is pretty strong in its financials with the $6 billion cash that they have by the end of the year, plus this new additional $2 billion, they have $8 billion sitting in the bank. Now, many of you, since you are watching this, would probably know who Warren Buffett is. So Warren Buffett always speaks of this competitive advantage, or this moat that he talks about for a company or any company that he is investing or looking into investing. Now, for Tesla, their moat is not in their battery technology, it's not in their self-driving, it's not in the solar technology, it's not in any of this. Their competitive advantage is in innovation, how fast, the pace of how fast they can innovate and put out new product or improve their current product line, so that all the legacy automakers, the companies that are producing car, aren't able to catch up in their car race. Then in battery, they have to also constantly innovate so that they have the cheapest, most efficient battery out in the market. Same goes for solar cell, to keep bringing down the cost of the solar roof so that it becomes cheap enough or commercially viable enough for it to be mass marketed. So those are not fundamentals. Fundamentals are very important, so I'll bring a few points below. Some of them are fundamentals, as you shall see. These are all comparing from their 2016 to today, the differences. Why 2016? Because in 2015, many of us would have known that in the earlier days of Tesla as a company, Tesla Motor that time, they were struggling a bit here and there until about 2015. Then 2016 onwards was when more people begin to realize that Tesla would not go bankrupt, but they have proven their proof of concept. So the points are, number one, their plant, property and equipment had almost doubled from 2016 to today, 2019. So within 3 years, they have doubled their plant, property, equipment because of their ramp up in production, getting more and more equipment, and also the Tesla Shanghai, of course. Their revenue nearly quadrupled, means 4 times, fourfold, from $7 billion back in 2016 to 2019, $24 billion. Now, usually I would compare their earnings to see if it is a good price, but for this case, because I would consider Tesla a fast growth company, and because it is throwing all of its revenue back into production. Now, if we were to take a look at their profit margin, the profit margin is between 16 to 20%, and if we take the lower range, so say 16%, and times it by their revenue, you would get an earnings per share of about $22, which is not a lot compared to the current market price of $700 over dollars. But remember, it quadrupled its revenue in 3 years. So yes, it is easier to quadruple smaller sums of money than bigger sums of money, but I believe that the electric car market has a pretty long way to go. As I've seen somewhere, I'll see if I can put the link or the photo here, that many governments are slowly but surely phasing out ICE vehicles or carbon emission vehicles, or those vehicles with internal combustion engines. They are going going to phase them out in the future in the next 20-30 years, which means that all vehicles on the road in the future would be electric vehicles, or maybe some newer competitors that we do not know of. But for this current situation, what I know is true is very likely electric vehicles would take over most of the vehicles on the road and then slowly replacing them until the last ICE vehicle would be phased out. So back to the earnings. Now let's say they are able to quadruple their revenue by 4-folds again, then this earning per share of $22 would grow into $80 over dollars. But it's too optimistic because we are not investing for the short term, we are investing for the long term, like 5, 10, 20 years. So it is very possible that their earnings per share would be able to rise above this $80 per share limit, which would mean that the share price should follow suit. So with my shortest time frame of 5 years for this company to grow, it is pretty doable for their earnings per share to match up. So that's done, earnings per share. And now their cash holding has stockpiled from 3 billion to 6 billion, and this increase was actually brought in 2019. So in 2016, 2017, 2018, their cash pile were hovering around $3 billion, but in 2019 was when they had a breakthrough and jumps up to $6 billion. Plus that stock offering that I said, which happened earlier this year, they currently have $8 billion in cash holdings. Now number 5 on competition. Now compared to all the other automakers, the leading legacy automakers, Ford, Toyota, GM, Hyundai, whatever you name it, almost all of them had been reporting stagnating or decreasing sales over the last few years. Especially in this environment, many of them will be expected to report losses or decrease in their sales, whereas Tesla had been reporting sales growth year after year after year and would still be expected to report a growth this year. Even if they do not, the market will forgive them, but I believe very frankly that they will be able to beat the market forecast once again and show a growth while other automakers are declining. Next up, no need for marketing. Now if you are not aware, Tesla has spent $0 in their marketing department because they have none or maybe none advertising department, so they have not spent a single dime into advertising. All their advertising are done through word of mouth. So when people review the product and they recommend it to their friend, Tesla gets their marketing for free. Even when people give bad review, of course they will get bad marketing for free. I'm not sure who came up with the term, but somebody said before, all marketing are good marketing, there is no bad marketing. As such, they have this cult following similar to Apple and all the Apple users, which brings us to their vertical integration. So now this is not fundamental vertical integration. So this vertical integration would be similar to how Apple runs its company. So most of Apple's sales are from the Apple iPhone, but they are currently seeing more and more sales in their subscription service, in Apple Pay, the Apple credit card, iMac, MacBook, Apple Watch, you name it. So all the products that Apple are producing around this Apple ecosystem are helping to drive up their sales. Even though their customer base are still growing but not growing as fast, the number of product each customer has on average has increased over time. So that's similar to what Tesla is currently doing, because all their products could be integrated together. The Tesla Powerwall, the solar roof, the Tesla vehicles, and in the future robotaxi. And currently, if you are not aware, they have been working on this HVAC system. HVAC is basically, for layman term, it is air conditioning. So they are trying to recreate the entire air conditioning system, because this air conditioning system is very energy consuming. So they at Tesla believe that they can come up with a better air conditioning system which would save people money and also be quieter as well. So win-win. Lastly, point number 8, Tesla is not a car company like I shared before. It's not Tesla Motors, it's Tesla Inc. So they are a company aiming to be a sustainable company for the future, trying to propel mankind to the future. So the fundamentals are all only just based on their car sales. There are many components which aren't fundamental, things that they would be doing in the future or they plan to do in the future. So not like Cybertruck or Semi. So like Solar City and the battery technology. For example, if you are not aware, I was pretty amazed by a project that Tesla had done back in 2016 or 2017, where they built an entire battery farm in South Australia to farm energy from solar and wind turbines around the region into this battery farm, and from this battery farm they feed out to many households in South Australia, in a sense that it has saved South Australians more than $100 million. But in recent years, after 2016, after the battery farm project, they have been pulling back slightly in the solar scene because they are ramping up production for their cars to produce more and more cars every single day, every single week. And then another non-fundamental point would be the future of self-driving. Now, many companies have been trying to come up with self-driving technology, even Amazon, but I'll show a few pictures. Which car do you think looks cooler as a self-driving car? And might I add that this prettiest self-driving car also has the most functionality. Now, Tesla cars are not 100% self-driving as of right now, but they are close, like 90% close. Most of their competitors can't even match up to that, and they're ugly. So one other non-fundamental component is this robotaxi network. What it means is full automated driving, such that you can purchase a Tesla, have it drop you off at work, let it run by itself to make some additional income, pick up some passengers, much like Uber or Grab currently is doing, but without a driver, just your car alone, and then at the end of your work come back and pick you up, or even to charge itself before coming to pick you up. Now, this robotaxi future would drastically change car ownership. Like for me, for example, I do not drive to work, so I have no intention of owning a car, but with this full self-driving, if it is out and regulatory approved, then I might add it to my list of assets since it could generate money. And then not to mention the HVAC system, the air conditioning system that I told you about, which would be more efficient, more cost saving, and change the whole scene of the aircon industry, which has been pretty legacy stagnant for now. So there you have it, my brief but full opinion of Tesla. No fixed price target, because the price target or my own price point for Tesla shares would fluctuate over time as the environment changes and as news of different things begin to come in. But if you would to force me to come up with a price point, I would say that below $500 is a buy, because it's very cheap, it's discounted, you should buy it. Then between $500 to $700 is an okay buy, you can still buy it. I mean, it could likely make you money instead of losing you money. What about $700 and above? Now $700 to $800, I still feel there's a pretty good chance you can still make a killing from it in the next 5 to 10 years if you are willing to wait. But remember, the short term, the price might drop drastically, especially in this situation. But I believe that if everything were to happen without those fundamental components, just the car sales alone, Tesla would probably be worth between $2,000 to $3,000 in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, I would say this is pessimistic because this does not factor in those non-fundamental components that I talked about, the robotaxi, the HVAC system, the solar city. But these are just my opinions squeezed into one very tight-knitted video, a part B of a part A video. You get it? Very squeezed, very tight packed. So before you begin to invest your hard-earned money into any Tesla share, or in fact any shares of any company, do your own research first. For me, I believe that this is really a long-term play. Like I shared, 2 to 3 years is still short-term, 5, 10 years, 20 years, that is long-term. So this is a long-term play. In the long run, I believe that Tesla will be worth much more than the current price of $700. That's why I would invest $700 for each of the share currently, even if I have to, because in the future, I believe that each share would be worth at least $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000, depending on how everything plays out. So if you would like to stay tuned for how it turns out in the future, feel free to subscribe down below. I upload every Monday and Thursday. This is a special upload. I'm not sure if this will come out on a Thursday or a Friday. Now, if you like this kind of content, do help to smash the like button, because it would help this channel greatly, and I appreciate every single like. And if you have any question or any feedback, any argument even, begin to comment down below. But before you comment down below, I would like to share this quote: when given a choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. Yes, because we all have our own different opinions, so be kind in the comments. I believe that Tesla are very controversial. It might spark some debate in the comment section, but not a lot of people comment, so oh well. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, stay wealthy. See you guys next time.